What is up, Los Angeles, and welcome to Victory Monday here on the Rams LAFB Show. We've got the GOAT and Aaron Donald on the show. Brittany Betts, what's up? Welcome back to the program. How we feeling today and in this holiday season? What's going on?
Feeling great. Feeling great.
I bet.
I have had a full weekend of football, so football has taken me down to the ground. But I'm up today because the Rams won, and it was in amazing fashion. We'll get into it. But yeah, I'm happy to be here with the GOAT, the real GOAT.
All right, so I went to a game where they gave out the Shohei Ohtani bobblehead, and I had 3 people come up to me with cash in their hand, being like, "How much?"
Yeah, it's that. There was a guy in our section. I even tweeted about it. He had a big brown paper bag that had about 8 of them in there, and he was standing up yelling, $60, $60 in the stadium.
I think it was the same guy. Because that was what he was offering.
Oh God, that is so funny. Yeah, everybody wants to get their hands on one. So here's the thing. I actually didn't get one. When I got there, they didn't have any, and I was like devastated, like mortified. And so when I got to my seat, my friend that sits in our section, Tony, shout out to Tony, he gave me one of his because I think he got like 5.
Who knew?
Right?
It was such a thing. I haven't been in the memorabilia business since I was a kid, so I'm catching up, I guess. Right now. Yeah, it really is
one of the hottest commodities. Yeah.
Yoshinobu Yamamoto, his card just sold for over $70,000.
Right,
owned by Karl Anthony Towns, which come on, man, spread some wealth around.
Right. And then I think that I saw a video of him with the rest of the Knicks maybe a couple of weeks ago, and he was opening like a basketball pack of cards, and he got like a Cooper Flag signature rookie card. Karl Anthony Towns. So
what you buying cards for?
All these good cards, hang on to them. Lucky.
Yeah. Well, just to point out, you were at the game. Which is one of the reasons I wanted to have you on. You've been at the last 2 games, a nail biter against Seattle, and then this rout of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 34-7, as I recall, moving this team into the catbird spot, top of the NFC, top of the NFL. What are your kind of impressions of the crowd, the experience? What does it feel like when you're in the building down, you're in a great spot. You're in the end zone, just a little, kitty corner to the end zone. What's it been like, from tailgating to, in the stadium experience and just the fan base in general? What are you feeling, sensing, and seeing?
So I haven't hit any of the tailgates this season, but I will say that just stadium vibes have been so good. Just throw the Niner game out the window. Like it's something really, really weird that I haven't quite figured out. That guy, the guy from Dexter, like I'm on to you. Like that's me with the Niner game and why there's always so many Niner fans. But the last 2 games, so last night, the Bucs game and the Seattle game, vibes were incredible. Like there was for sure, for the Seattle game, I'd say it was at least 60-40 Rams. You kind of get tricked because like that throwback Seattle jersey is that royal blue, and so they had some of that in the mix. But I'd say for the most part, it was for sure majority Rams fans, which is always great for us. The offense loves it. The defense loves it. And then for sure yesterday, it was an overwhelming amount of Rams fans. Like obviously you can see Bucs fans in those burgundy jerseys a lot more, but the sea of blue definitely took over. And I mean, like the energy is there, not as much as I'd like it to be, but people are still learning in our city, I feel like. The football etiquette.
It was something I was curious about, preparing for the show. So you're an LA native and an LA sports fan to the max. USC, Lakers, Dodgers, repping all those guys. What was it like when they came back initially? Did you guys jump on the bandwagon 2016 right away, or was it Sean McVay era, or was it? I said bandwagon, but that's not what I meant. But
go all in once they were back, Yeah.
Yeah. Take us
Yeah,
back to
we
2016.
did.
Yeah.
We did. As soon the night that we got the notification, I remember I was working and Deontay sent me a message and he was so excited. It was like the ESPN link. And as soon as we knew that they were gonna be at the Coliseum, we got season tickets. So we didn't originally plan on getting season tickets at SoFi just because like we knew life, having kids, just that. But then we did an event when Deontay won Fan of the Year and we got to experience SoFi and we're like, how can we miss this? So, I mean, we've been in the mix. Like we've been to every single home game since the Rams have been back, probably except I can probably count it on one hand. I don't even think it's been 5 games that we've missed.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah. So you've seen it all. You've seen the entire the fan base really sprouting up from nothing.
It's grown.
And it's come a long
for
way.
sure grown. I'd say that originally there was still like a hunk of Rams fans from like the OG era, like the older Rams fans. Like my dad is one of those guys, but they kind of died out. They kind of died down because the team wasn't physically here,
Mm-hmm.
And my dad's like, I'm not rooting for a team in St. Louis, but once they came back, I think that he jumped back on board, but he wasn't as like invested because he's older. And, like that whole little era of Rams fans, I'd say is just probably not willing to go to 8-9 games a season and spend that kind of money. I get it.
Yeah.
But
that was 30 years ago.
To see, like the new generation, like people younger than me, they're really invested, especially since we're winning. That's what LA is about. It's like a championship city. So as long as you're getting dubs and bringing home trophies, I think you'll get the support.
Yeah, 100%. And, it was really heartening to hear that there were chants for MVP for Matthew Stafford from this fan base. Let's just start with Stafford, where he is so far this year and just in this game. I mean, he's been lights out for weeks now. What are your thoughts and feelings on Stafford this year? Wasn't supposed to be his greatest performance of his career, but it's kind of shaping up to be, and the MVP conversation is real. I mean, you look at the betting odds, he's right up there.
Yeah, he is the odds-on favorite, I think, like at -185, and then Drake May is like +210 right behind him. But I think that it's Stafford's to lose. And I've always been a Stafford truther. Were you with us in Arizona when we were at that?
Oh yeah.
So you remember that whole ordeal where Paul and we were going so hard for Matthew Stafford. And like, I just couldn't believe the things that I was hearing from, I forget the guy's name, but he's a Vikings beat writer. And just saying that Matthew Stafford wasn't even top 15 in the NFC was like blasphemy. And I just knew, like, this is my rant, because I have been saying like the older quarterbacks are being so disrespected. And if I were a coach, if I were calling an offense, that's the guy that I want, like a seasoned guy who understands things. I don't have to like break the game down in layman's terms. I don't have to like micromanage. So the disrespect that Matthew Stafford was getting before the season about his back, I guess it was like, okay, we don't really know. So I kind of was like, let me not say anything. Let me not run to defend him, because what if he really does have a serious back injury or something like that? But just the whole notion that he's old it was just like asinine to me. Asinine. And I think that the game is just so much slower for him now. He has someone that is, Coach McVay is more of like a peer to him in a sense, to where I'm sure they can bounce things off of each other. They have just this mutual respect to elevate each other's game, and whatever aspect they need. And then I think that adding a Devontae Adams, like that was just really, really important for our offense. But for Matthew Stafford, like a guy to kind of lean on, a guy who is in the same boat as him, an older guy who has always been good but hasn't really gotten the shine, I'm really, really, really happy for John Matthew.
John Matthew Stafford from Highland Park,
Yes.
Texas, best friends with Clayton Kershaw, what have you. Yeah, I mean, you're it's really interesting, you know, covering this team kind of on a day in and day out basis. Heading into this season, all that talk about the back, it seemed so real at the time.
Yeah.
I tweeted out during the game, maybe he should skip training camp every year if he's going to
Or go
continue to
in
play
that
like this.
immortal machine. Seriously.
Yeah,
Buy
and
one.
yeah, he just install it into his house. Yeah, it's really nice to see it working out so well for him, and he's always been a really good quarterback, but languishing there in Detroit for all of those years. But the kind of disrespect and the hate of it all is interesting. And yeah, I mean, I was I throwing dirt on him in 2024? He was banged up, and he didn't look like he was performing as well. Even at the beginning of this season, I mean, he was still making the important throws, but the offense did not have the kind of oomph and power behind it and fluidity that we had
Right.
seen early on in his LA tenure. And we've seen quarterbacks at that age just drop off of a cliff where it's just like, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Matt Ryan. I won't throw Phillip Rivers into that mix, but he's a little bit in that mix. But I went back and I wanted to compare 2021 Matthew Stafford and 2025 Matthew Stafford, and they're playing really similarly in terms of just kind of down to down EPA per play, success rate, really comparable there. But those turnover numbers
Oh,
are
a glaring
insane.
difference. Night and day.
Yeah. Two this year. It's been several weeks since he's thrown, and
Yeah.
not even really many turnover worthy plays as PFF would put it. So think just going back and thinking about that 2021 season. Do I have it pulled up right here? I sure do. Heading down the stretch after week 8, two interceptions. One against Green Bay, clean game Jacksonville, clean game Cardinals, one against Seattle, 3 against Minnesota, 2 against
Yeah.
Baltimore, 2 against San Francisco. And then, well, that was week 18. Yeah, that was the first year for week 18. And then a couple of turnovers in the playoffs as well. It doesn't feel like he's putting the ball in harm's way in the same way.
Right. There's no like, oh my gosh, Steph, don't do that. Don't scare me like that moments. I mean, I won't say that there are none, but there haven't been as many for sure. And I mean, it just seems so comfortable, like the offense just seems fluid, as you said, and just unstoppable. The 13 personnel like is our goal. The goal line fade to Devontae Adams is our tush push. I read that today and I'm like, yeah.
Like
How
that.
do you stop it?
Yeah, I was rewatching those first few drives just before the show, and that play, I was just like, you only run that with Matthew Stafford and
Yeah.
Devontae Adams. Otherwise, it's a hair off. It is, and the guy doesn't. Devontae just off the line, his first few steps, he fakes out McCollum so hard on that to go inside.
And on that
He's got
other,
plenty of room.
on the end zone pass, where he broke away, just the way that he gets off so quickly, it's like no other. Like Sean McVay knew what he was going after, like having a taste of Odell Beckham, just he knew why he was hitting up Devontae. And to your point about, Matthew not playing as well, just maybe the first week or two in the season, as far as like the offense looking like it clicked, the connection with him and Devontae wasn't really there like it is now. And I mean, granted, they have been a lot of just goal line touchdown passes, but that's all that they need. And now that they've had work together for weeks, I'm saying years, for weeks, I expect them to have just a lot of just connection.
Yeah. Well, there was a stat that was floating around before this game: 8 TDs for Davontae Adams in the last 5 games, 15 yards,
15 yards total. Yeah.
total on those touchdowns. So, yeah, 100%. And I
Not
was on
much
the show.
yak.
Yeah, exactly. Which is fine. As an old man myself with a little bit of a back problem right now, I'm like, I don't want to yak anything.
Yeah.
Where was I going with all that? You always make me laugh and get me off topic.
You're silly.
Devon Stafford. I totally lost my train of thought.
Because the offense is just so good. And we haven't even talked about the defense that played absolutely lights out, not just last night's game, but the game with Seattle. I mean, 4 turnovers, 4 picks on Sam Darnold. And then last night's game, Baker Mayfield, he got hurt, but him and Teddy combined, they didn't even have over 100 yards passing. The pass rush was there. Jared Verse was just a monster. Kobe Turner had a night yesterday. Like both sides of the ball, we'd be here all night talking about it.
Yeah, 100%. And I keep thinking about the complementary nature of this team. Now the running game is, it's regressed to its place where Sean McVay is happier with it, where it doesn't have to save anybody.
Enough.
It's enough. Yeah. And I keep thinking about 2021 for obvious reasons. Everybody's talking about it. We don't have to mention it. We're not jinxing anything. But there are, there's parallels. And in that year, there was no running game. Cam Akers was injured. Sonny Michel was in there. McVay wasn't running the ball. And obviously Kyron and Blake Corum have him in a better place.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, just thinking back to 2021, the Tampa Bay game that I was there for, Cam put the ball on the ground twice. So that PTSD of your running back, putting the ball on the ground in vital moments for Sean is very, very real, because it happened in 2021. It happened last year with Kyron in the divisional round against Philly. I get it. So to scale back the run to just be not necessarily as minimal as possible, but just enough, like we said, enough to be able to move the ball. And I mean, just the things that we're doing. 11 personnel was like 69% of our snaps yesterday. And like people were saying that the 13 and 12 personnel was unbeatable. Sean McVay is doing whatever he wants at this point. He is literally doing whatever he wants. And on my drive home yesterday, my new thing is to listen to like college radio, like Alabama radio, the Tide Talk, and like Tiger, LSU radio. I like listening to these alternate fan base radios because I can, like, my car satellite finds it. And it's really, really funny to hear, what these people in their cities have to say. So we thought that we should listen to the Philly radio, 94, the Whip or whatever. And this is like midnight last night. So one guy brought up the point to where the Eagles offense is to a point where it's one note, it's stagnant. The second quarter, the second half, they went away from what was working. They stopped targeting AJ. They stopped trying to run the ball. And they're like, look at the Rams. Look at what they're doing with Kyron Williams. Like, he's not a stud like Saquon, but they're just doing enough to open things up for Puka and Devontae. And like, it's just so funny hearing an Eagles fan, who they were at the top of the NFC, top of the food chain, now use us as an example on how to run the ball.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kyron's never going to be Saquon. We know that, but he's doing good stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's a great example comparing to the Eagles, who can't seem to run the ball and throw the ball at the same time with any success.
Right.
They found some success doing that against the Rams, but that's an old story that feels like it's years ago.
Exactly.
But it is, you look at what they're doing with the tight ends, let's say, what Colby Parkinson and Davis Allen are doing on the offense, the amount of improvement that they've made in their areas of deficiency. Colby Parkinson was brought in to be a blocking tight end, a complementary piece. And they threw the ball to him a bunch last year because Tyler Higbee was out. But, he's become a playmaker in the offense, a release valve, picking up, 6-8 yards. Then, Davis Allen, was an athletic guy, a playmaker for sure, lacking in the blocking game. He's throwing some intense, amazing blocks out there.
Yeah.
And they didn't skip a beat with Tyler Higbee on the IR. Now, Terrence Ferguson didn't play much, but just what they're doing, with how multiple they are, with how many different pieces that they have. Tutu Atwell is coming back. We'll see how he fits in next week against the Panthers. It's everything is finally clicking.
Yeah.
The play calling is beautiful. They've got the pieces. You bringing it back to Davontae. This is where I got distracted. Thinking about where they really struggled in 2024. It was. I highlighted in the last show, and I'll just run down the list again. It was pre-snap penalties,
Okay.
Pressure, third down efficiency, and fourth down, and red zone stuff. Well, third down and fourth down, those are the Devontae Adams downs
Right.
now in red zone as well. And so they were just kind of ticking off the boxes, and they answered all the right questions.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
They solved all those issues that were plaguing them and making that offense so stagnant and just kind of not as much fun to watch. And this year, everybody's having a great time.
I will say the first couple games we had some of the same issues. Take away the penalties because we're a lot more disciplined this year. But we had the same third down stalls, the same red zone issues. But I think that would be attributed to the fact that Stafford wasn't there. Stafford didn't get as much work. The whole team didn't get as much work, as a collective. But no, I like the way that we're playing. Like, who's playing better ball than us right now? And even on, like, I brought up the defensive side of the ball. We just signed Nate Landman to an extension, and I am all for that. Like, I love that we did that, pay good players early. But I also said the day before we extended him, I'm just thinking to myself, if we had Nate Landman and if we had Poona Ford in the divisional round, they were the missing piece. They are the key to our offense, or to our team. Devontae to the offense, and then those two to the defense. And it's just, we're a totally different team dynamically. We're just so much more sound, and to think those were the holes, those were the gaps, those were the pieces that we needed to fill. And
yeah. Like I was saying on offense, ticking those boxes of the deficiencies of 2024. I mean, just go look at those Saquon Barkley runs from the two games. I mean, they had to clean up the run defense, and they also had to backstop the secondary, this is another topic I want to talk about. They had to backstop the secondary because if the pass rush wasn't getting home, teams were just hitting deep, explosive passes on this team, and there were a couple of games where teams that had no business competing against the Rams were able to compete against it because of those deficiencies on defense specifically. Right. But let's talk about this secondary for a little while. I was rewatching the first few drives. Kobe Durant.
Yeah.
Talk about the land shark. He goes for a PBU, saving, basically it looks like it saved a touchdown, for then a TFL a couple of plays later. And then the next play right after that, interception, fumble situation, just taking the ball away from a bigger.
Just bullied him. Just
bullied a man.
It's my ball. This is my house. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that TFL too, like, it's not like it was just like he read the play right and had a free tackle. He had Kate Otten in between him and Mika Ibuka.
Yeah.
And like, just had a big man play against, a bigger guy. And like, the complementary nature of it. It's like every week somebody else is going to step out. If it's Byron Young, it's Jared Verse, it's Kobe Turner, it's Emanuel Forbes.
There you go. So going back to the secondary, Emanuel Forbes, week 1, when he was getting thrown around like a rag doll by AJ Brown, like, I was mortified, and I tweeted a lot of my detest.
You weren't alone. You were not alone.
Oh my goodness. And I had to draft an apology letter to Emanuel Forbes, because just that McVay makeover, trademark it. trademark it, because it's a real thing. Just being in our building, Nate Landman, the Falcons said that we were getting a dud. And I mean, the guy is a stud. And he even made some remarks just to how belief in the building, being in the Rams building is huge. And I say that so often, like, they'll keep people under wraps. They'll keep people in the building. They'll develop people. Stetson Bennett, going back to a few years back, Robert Rochelle, who else did they have in the building? Just, guys that we didn't necessarily see on the field, but they're still trying to just do their part as an organization, as a team, as coaches, to develop. And that is what the Rams are just really, really good at. And Emanuel Forbes being kind of like a salvage project, first round draft pick that the Commanders gave up on. And the fans, like, that just goes to show that us fans, we do not know better than these coaches and what they see day in, day out, practice, work getting put in. And they weren't giving up on Emanuel Forbes, considering his size, considering the fact that he wasn't really having the numbers early on in the season, and even, the latter of last season. And look at him. Look at him balling out on an island, going against JSN last week, going up against Amika yesterday. I mean, the kid is balling, and I have to respect it. I had to draft an apology letter. And
yeah, I've done several. Nate Landman was one of them. I was very skeptical on Landman coming in. He hadn't played a lot of ball, and he lost his job on an Atlanta Falcons defense that, was not good last year, improved this year for sure. But yeah, Emanuel Forbes, it was more of a curiosity, and like, I don't love the body type. Obviously he's got the length. He's got the length and he's got good speed, but just lightweight. And I still worry about him when he turns himself into a human missile, just launching himself at tight ends.
Putting the body on the line. Hey, I respect that. Like, he's willing to press on that field,
Yeah. I mean, I respect it. I just worry about him because if they take another injury in the secondary, But yeah,
to that point of, one of the most important injuries that we have, one of the most unfortunate injuries we have, is to our captain of the defense, Quentin Lake. And what type of defensive, or should we just say secondary drop off, have we seen? None.
Not so far. Yeah.
It's insane. And that is how you build championship caliber teams, by having depth, next man up, and building the confidence of those guys. That the pick that Emanuel Forbes got yesterday, and just giving him time to play and letting him take on the wide receiver one and putting them on an island, that's only going to build his confidence and have him go out there and play better. And, you have Roger McCreary. He only played one series because I think that he got hurt.
Yeah.
But giving him that time, and then him seeing guys like Forbes and Jacoby, not big names, but balling. He's like, yeah, why can't I go out there and do something like that? That only motivates guys, and that only just gets their motor going. And I'm excited. I was one of the ones who was like, we need to add another corner. We need to get some more depth there. And it didn't necessarily need to be a big name. Well, I was kind of going after like a shutdown corner, like
me too.
A big name. Like, if we were going to waste the capital, that's what I felt. But I also was saying that I trust McVay, and I trust the McVay effect in just working with the in-house talent. Like, if McVay says it, I trust it.
It's, it's hard to argue with it. I mean, he's more right than he is wrong. So, and to your point of guys that, flew under the radar for a little while and developed into a critical piece. You've already mentioned it. Quentin Lake, 6th round draft pick out of UCLA, 2022. He's in his contract year. Unfortunate for him to be out during that. I still have questions if they're going to offer him another contract or what have you.
The Landman signing extension was shocking, right? Because, I mean, when have the Rams paid a linebacker, let alone this caliber? It's very organizational friendly, I'd say the deal is, but you're still breaking him off.
Yeah.
Which is something the Rams don't do for linebackers.
Yeah.
So maybe we've turned a new leaf, and considering how vital Quentin Lake has been to the offense, not just on the field, but the piece that he is in the locker room, like they love him. They love their Cap. They said they were spinning for Cap, when he got hurt, and they went out there and they did just that. So that matters. And I think that the Rams know it. I think that McVay, being a locker room guy, a culture guy, he knows that. And so the Rams are business guys.
Yeah.
They are an organization that has to worry about the business side of things. And I think that I like the way they're willing to get to part with you if they have to, if it's in their best interest. Look at Cooper Kupp. Look at, the Ernest Jones situation. Yeah, like they're willing to let you go if it's in their best interest. But I think that this situation, we will probably have to hang on to Quentin Lake.
I'm rooting for him. I am.
That sounds like you don't believe that we are.
Well, I just don't know how to feel about it. Honestly, I think he's proven to be a valuable asset. He's proven to be not just like a John Johnston or a Taylor Rapp or Jordan Fuller, who are, more, just true safeties. I mean, they've moved him around all over the place. And, you pay a guy for future, what you want from the future, not for past performance. So like, it's hard to make that argument, but it kind of, as a 6th rounder, what has he been taking home a year? What has he got in his pocket? Over, like, he's not making Sauce Gardner money.
Right. So, I mean, rightfully so, he's going to want a bag, but your legacy, your bag, your legacy, your bag. You know what I mean? Like, he seems like a smart kid too. Like very, very just
friend of the show,
very mature. Seems like he's very motivated and has a good like spiritual grounding. So
good head on his shoulders for sure.
Yeah.
I want to get your opinion on last week's game, the Seattle game. But before we move on to that, got to pay some bills here with Sleeper Fantasy. We're talking about them all season long. Get that app, fastest growing daily fantasy site out there. You can put in $100 and they're just going to give you $100 to play around with. You can put in 5 and get 5 if you want. You can pick your poison there. Just use use code Rams LAFB, all one word. And you can use that discount code and get that. And what are you going to use that money for? You're going to pick some over-unders on 2 to 8 players and with a chance to win some big money. There's also a social aspect that's tied into Sleeper. You can connect with friends. You can meet new people. Maybe you'll meet Brittany Betts over there one day on Sleeper Fantasy. And guess what? You don't even need to put money in. Guess what, guys? They're just giving out free $20. You just sign up. They give you 20. And the best thing is you can stack those. So just go have some fun. You can play any sport too on Sleeper.
Don't sleep on Sleeper.
Don't sleep on Sleeper. Fastest growing daily fantasy out there. NBA's in full swing. NHL's in full swing. Maybe they got some Premier League on there. Is that still going on?
A lot of action.
A lot of action. Yeah. But so we go from fun, glorious beatdown of the Bucs to a tight contest between probably the two best performing teams in the league right now. Definitely by DVOA, they are far and away the best teams out there. Heading into that game, I thought it was going to be close, and when it's too close to call, and you've minced and you've parsed all the stats and figures and whatnot, I always just go back and I say, who's got the better quarterback? Who's got the better coach? Rams got both.
Yeah, for sure.
So
won, check. Yeah.
What did you see in that Seattle game and from those Seahawks? And we won't talk about the future, but we'll talk about the past and just kind of what was it like being at that game, specifically with it coming down like that, and just your thoughts on that team and how the Rams were able to kind of come away with the victory.
Yeah. So that game was, like I said, it was mostly Rams fans. That's how it felt. It seemed to be at least 60-40. But to me, for whatever reason, it didn't really feel close until it actually did get close. Like with all the picks and everything, but the offense just kept stalling. So there was like this thing in the back of my mind that knew that it was probably going to come down to the end of the game because we just couldn't get things going on offense. And after the game, you hear a lot of Twitter takes, you hear a lot of people having things to say, Monday quarterback type things. And they were just like, well, you sucked on offense. Like Stafford looked terrible, blah, blah. And I'm just like, guys, like we're totally discrediting that defense. Yeah. And I mean, that's a good defense. And that is just what I took away from that we went up against a really good defense. They were hungry. They were trying to do whatever they could to, you know, keep them in the game, which they did. You know, the week before that, when the Seahawks played the Cardinals, their defense got them 14 points, you know? And so to kind of know that, to come into a game hungry, going up against a division rival, to go up against somebody who, you know, they're in the hunt just like you are. I totally understand the mindset, the way that they were playing, the pressure that they were putting on Stafford, the way that they were blitzing. It all made sense to me. And the way that they executed their game plan worked, but ours worked better. Ours worked better. Like, we know Sam Darnold. We know when you pressure him, that only equals a problem. When you, like, the ghosts, they're back, you know? And I think that even with the weapons that he had, even with JSN breaking records, being the speed, you know, putting up 100 yards every single game, you got to get the ball to him. And that is what our defense tried to do. And like the secondary, obviously they balled out, and Cam Kinchin said it best, is like, you want to try us, we're going to make you pay. And that mentality, I can feel it. Like, I felt it in that game. Like the way that the defense was hyping up the crowd, you know, in between snaps, the little timeouts and things like that. They were serious. Like Nate Landman, they're all going like this because they felt the energy. And like I said, it didn't really feel close, even though it was really close. It just felt like two different calibers of team. But I wasn't trying to dismiss that defense that Seattle had. Like Mike McDonald gave it all that he had. And I mean, he's a good coach. This is his second year putting that team together. Like, they've drafted the right pieces. I don't think that they had everybody there. I think that they were missing a safety. But I don't think that Devon Witherspoon played. He might be our corner, but let's just say it'll be very interesting to see Seattle again in Seattle. And don't think that don't think that he's gonna run the same stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I know that Mike McDonald's like, oh, next time we're gonna get him, but
I mean,
the same thing.
It was such a fun chess match to watch between a defensive genius and an offensive genius, really playing at the top of their games, calling stuff at the top of the games, both really being like breaking tendencies. Yeah. Well, McVay broke away from the 13 personnel in that game because it wasn't working. They were just shutting that down completely. But, you know, Todd Bowles, we know he's going to blitz. Mike McDonald does not blitz. He blitzing at the lowest rate this season. He upped it into the 40%. Because with us. Yeah. Last week to, you know, so, you know, Stafford is forcing teams to play a blitz heavy style. Even San Francisco had to blitz more. Their defensive line is nowhere near as good as Seattle's, but that's another team that doesn't blitz a lot. They want to get home with 4. Offensive line is just doing such a great job. Shout out to Ryan Wendell for getting, you know, this team just totally prepared up front. And
McClendon, I mean, guys, that's a tough gig, and he's holding his own. He's holding his weight. I don't want to jump the gun and say maybe we won't be drafting a right tackle. You know what I mean? But I think that right now he's a good fit.
Yeah. I mean, he'll work, and I mean, you know, is Havenstein done? We don't know. He hasn't been playing healthy. He's got his. You think he's done? We'll see. I mean, but yeah, I mean, I think you summed it up pretty great about Seattle. You know, and you know, there are good teams in the NFL, and there's going to be tight games, and you know that was a playoff game, really, in a lot of ways. They'll probably play each other 3 times this season, so it'll be interesting to see how that matchup just continues to evolve and what they can kind of pull out. But yeah, I mean, Stafford has not been good against pressure this year. although I'll say he is protecting the ball in a much better way. He's not trying to extend play. He's kind of entering his Tom Brady era of just dirting the ball, getting rid of it in a smart way, not putting it in harm's way. Yeah, but there's not going to be teams that can get that much pressure on him without blitzing. And this team who lives on that had to blitz, and that's really incredible that they had to go to such lengths and extent. And just to change the subject, the draft. I came into this year saying, well, you got 2 first-round picks plus your futures. This is the quarterback. This is a quarterback year. You got to go up. The class is not looking great, and I, who might end up with the first round or the first overall pick is the Tennessee Titans. And not that long ago, the Rams traded up with the Tennessee Titans to go get the quarterback of the future, which worked out okay.
Yeah, I hear you. I totally hear what you're saying, considering that Stafford is at the tail end of his career. Do I think that Stafford would want to pull Clayton Kershaw, win it this year, and then announce that next year is going to be his final season and try to win another one, go out with the bang? Yes. Of course, he has 4 small girls and a wife that I'm sure would love for him to be at home. But I also think that he still has football in him. And the way that our organization is built, Sean McVay has never had to develop a quarterback, like he wants somebody who's ready to go. And that makes me really curious as to why they've kept Stetson Bennett in the building under wraps for so long. I'm not saying that he's the Rams quarterback of the future. No, but you keep a quarterback like that. You have a serviceable quarterback up in Jimmy G. Do you really want to waste your draft capital on average quarterback? Like, there's no one in this draft that screams out to me. Like, you have, the Indiana kid, you have the Alabama kid. So you have Ty Simpson from Alabama. You have, Mendoza is his name from Indiana.
Yeah, Fernando Mendoza.
Okay.
Lenora Sellers.
He needs some fine tuning, and that you need a respectable coach that is going to tell you need another year, either here, maybe not necessarily at South Carolina, but in the National Collegiate Athletic Association. Okay. Because he's not ready. It'd end up being another Anthony Richardson situation, which I see the vision, especially if it were McVay got his hands on a Lenora Sellers, that would be RG3 2.0. But he'd need a lot. He'd need a lot of fine tuning. And it's like with our team, the way that we're set up with the young defense, with the defense that we don't have to pay everybody all right now, like we have a window. So do you want somebody who you have to kind of slow the game down for, take your time to get their feet wet, or you just kind of want to keep going? Is there anybody in the league that we'd be able to kind of grab, once Stafford is exiting, making his, farewell tour type situation? Well, I can't really think of anybody right now. Like,
my big grinchy smile is because I've had this take since the preseason. Okay. Joe Burrow has got to be unhappy.
I think that Joseph is unhappy. And I also want to put one name out there who unfortunately has been in concussion protocol for 4 weeks and who is from this city, CJ Stroud.
Oh, wow. That would be something.
That would be something. Just young. The mechanics are there. He has the arm to be a pocket passer. He only runs if he really, really has to. He's suffered from horrible O-line play for the last season and a half, But we know what CJ could be. And under McVay, behind Stafford for a year, you'd have to take a hit to your ego for maybe a year, but he respects Matthew Stafford.
He does, yeah.
Game recognized game,
Yeah, for sure.
So that's a name. But I hear your Joe Burrow take with him coming back. Is he healthy?
He's supposed to play this week. Yeah. I don't know if he's healthy. He's going to be out there. But yeah, just going from one of the worst franchises in the league. I don't mean to pick on the Bengals. They've
No,
never.
they're cheap. They've been cheap for years. They've been cheap for Mike Brown's dad was cheap. So it's like they are not.
Been
Yeah,
handed
yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the one I've been angling towards. Maybe it's like a rerun with Dak Prescott, but they seem to be working things out with the Cowboys. Joe
Burrow comes with a big bill though. So
100%. And the defense is about to get a lot more expensive. They're going to have to make some decisions along that defensive line. I don't think they're keeping all 4 of those draft picks.
How can you?
You can't. They're going to have to sign somebody to play the secondary, and they've got literally 5 defensive backs on contract next year, including
the way that Samuel Lester works magic in the draft in those later rounds. He knows that he can get a squad. You know what I mean? Like he can make turn peanuts into something.
100%. Now we're getting way ahead of ourselves talking 2026 off season, but it's always
here all day.
We really could. I'm really fascinated about how this team is going to evolve. They're gonna have to get another quarterback at some point. Matthew Stafford. I mean, maybe 2 more years.
Tom Brady told him he had 8 more years in him though, so maybe he gave him some of those clone cells or something. I don't know.
He does. He looks so much happier these days than he did last year.
He does. And, Devontae said at the press conference last night that he's the happiest that he's been. And I was talking to Deontay about it, and I said, to really enjoy your job towards the end of your career is something, like that is something. So I love this for Matthew. I just want him to continue to ride this wave, and Rams got to just keep their head down, tune out the noise, like have that hungry underdog mentality like we've always had, because they've always counted us out, like they're just now talking about us now. But we do have some big games ahead. Like the Panthers are nothing to sneeze at. I hope that they beat the brakes off the 49ers tonight. And then I hope that they just turn into a pumpkin on Sunday when we play them. And then looking ahead, we were talking about a good defense in Seattle, and we've already played another defense in Philly. Well, we have the Lions. Yeah. So, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Number 1 seed, Rams are playing like the best ball. They're the best team in the league right now. Yeah, but job's not done.
100%. We got a long way to February, guys.
I know.
A lot of football, which is great. It's good for the content game. It's good for us fans, for sure. And thanks for tuning in once again, guys. Always appreciate you. And, continue to comment. Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. Give it up for the GOAT. And until next time, we're going to be doing, Aaron Coscarelli and I are going to do that the little Thanksgiving preview, or not preview show, but basically how do Rams players and coaches compare to Thanksgiving dishes and guests? Like why the heck am
I not on that one?
You can come on.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there for that, because that is totally me. I'm a foodie. I'm there. Okay.
Tomorrow at 4 then.
Yes.
Wait, is it tomorrow?
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Taco Tuesday.
Who's the taco on this team? We'll discuss next time.
We will.